Women's 100. Let's start there. Sha'Carri Richardson, 10.57. Wins the final by a large margin, over 0.2 of a second. She looked good in the opening round, too, where she ran 10.75. Both the performances were wind-aided. The 10.57 came with a plus 4.1. You put into the conversion calculator, gets you to 10.7 high. But let's remember what we talked about before this race. We said we don't care about the times. We wanted to see the margin of victory. Yeah. And in this case, it was big, and it was a really good field that Richardson was running against. And you could see, that talent. You see that ability. You see why everybody's so excited every time she steps on the track. And she was good last year, but this goes back to 2021 Richardson, really. Right, in those early season meets that led into the trials, where she was cranking up fast times, running into headwinds, and still posting impressive performances all the way through to the Olympic trials, which she dominated. So this looked to me very similar to that era of Richardson just two years ago.
I agree, but that concerns me because what happened in all of those seasons?
Well, 2021 was good. 2021 was good. There's this idea out there.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, when the championships come around, she's not going to run well.
But 19, it wasn't good.
Well, okay, but here's 19. You kind of get a mulligan
in rookie year.
And you just came off a college season. Yeah. You ran 10.75. Yeah. All right, didn't go that well. 21 USA's. She looked really good. There was nothing wrong with how she did at USA's. It was a suspension that came after it, which at the time, I remember saying this alters the whole season because then she's off, she's not competing, and then she has to come back later on.
I guess that Prefontaine race, though, kind of made you forget about how good she was at the trials.
Totally different rhythm, though. Your whole season gets interrupted. She has all this attention on her. So it's really just 2022 when we're talking about it. It's really just 2022 where we were shocked at that performance, and we never got a reason why, so we don't know why. So that's why I say when this goes back to 2021 Richardson, that's a really good spot to be in because that was her running fast and her dominating against American fields. And that's what we have here. And she has running a time that would dominate against most fields.
Yeah, and you can't ask for a better opener. I was thinking that she was going to her ceiling for her opener was going to be like a 10.95 after conversions or whatever. Obviously the win 10.57 it's really a 10.77, and that kind of shows based on what she ran in her prelim. Where she ran the prelim? Her prelim was wind legal.
No. That was windy, too.
Oh, it was windy? But it was not as windy.
10.75 with a 2.8.
Yeah, so
Two performances that are...
in the high 10.7s.
To low 10.8s.
Yeah. I thought she was going to run more like a 10.95 and, just be in the mix and kind of be like, all right, you're showing consistency. But I did not expect her to just in race one, jump right into old Sha'Carri mode of...
Yeah,
I'm running times that are going to turn people's heads, that are going to get people looking and make people start believing that she should be a medal contender, right?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest. If any of the Jamaicans were to run 10.57 with 4.1 wind, if Shelly-Ann were to run that, everyone would be like, all right, Shelly-Ann, another year. Or if Elaine Thompson-Hra ran that, we'd be like, oh, it's Olympic Elaine Thompson all over again.
Oh, and for good reason.
Because there's pedigree to what they've done. They've done at championship level. But these type of times this time that she ran, or back-to-back times she ran, are times that medal contenders run.
100%. And we had just did our top 10 a couple weeks ago.
We didn't even rank her.
She wasn't even in the top 10. And
so
now obviously it's obviously going to change. I'd have to look at it again.
That's a big question. There's the pedigree of the top three Jamaicans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a pedigree of the people who always are in the finals, like Kambunji and Tolu and Dina Asher-Smith. And probably you're going to assume Julian Alfred based on how she's running. So there's all these people who have a claim to be in the mix. Who are we taking off the list to put Sha'Carri on?
First things first, you look at it from the American perspective.
Right. You still put Aaliyah Hobbs ahead of her, right?
I would still have Hobbs ahead of her. Hobbs ran really well this weekend. But other than that, you'd probably put Richardson in that group. So there's some Americans that she moved in front of right now. Right now. It doesn't mean it's going to be the case throughout the season. But when you win by that much, and then you can also back up and take a look back at Texas relays, And now you have some times to confirm what you thought you saw, which was, yeah, that 4x1 leg looked pretty good that she ran. So put those two things together. Obviously, a lot more weight on these two races in Miramar. Yeah, if you're ranking Americans, you got to put her in the top 3, which means you put her top 10 in the world. But yeah, we're not rushing to say, oh, lock for the podium, guarantee for the podium. No, none of that. But look at the historic nature of the time. Only 3 people or two women actually have covered 100 meters faster. Yes, the win matters. Yes, it's early April. Put all the caveats aside. You can't start a season better than that.
Yeah. I guess the main question that we're always going to have throughout this entire regular season is, will she do it when it matters most? And it's kind of like the NBA. I know I like doing the NBA, but there's a lot of great NBA players who like do phenomenal regular season moments, and then they have yet to get, break the glass ceiling in the
I can think of a team.
I can think of a team too. But it takes time for people. Like LeBron James kept on losing, and then all of a sudden 2012 at Miami, he started winning, right? And Giannis and all these people, and Sha'Carri could be in that situation where like
you're in that group until you're not.
Yeah.
But then when you're not, no one can ever hold it against you, right? Because once you've got the global gold medal or global medal, then all that's gone away.
The doubt's gone. But you got to, if you were a betting man, would you bet on the Jamaicans and the people who've been in the mix at the international level, or Sha'Carri, who is thrown together so far a good regular season, but you don't know?
Yeah, no, you'd still go with the Jamaican.
No. You go with the no.
You still go with the Jamaican trio. But again, the fact that she's back in that conversation is the first step, because we've seen this before, and we've seen her go beyond this before, like in 2021 when she kept rolling. And there was probably people back in 2021 who was like, it's early. See what happens when it comes to next month. Okay, it's still early. See what happens when it comes to USAs. And then she went and did USAs and blew it out of the water. So we've seen this plus a little bit more. But yeah, there's always going to be questions and doubts. People are always, and not just with her, with everybody. Oh, can they do it in Europe? Oh, can they do it in a championship setting? Oh, can they do it in August?
Against the Jamaicans.
Yeah, there's always going to be another layer of doubt that you can
add to it.
Throw on. You can do that with most people.
In most sports.
In most sports at all times. There's a few people who are immune to that sort of critique. Everybody else is going to get it. Her more so than everybody else, because she's been in such a high-profile position for going on 4 years now, back to 2019 in Austin, Texas at the NCAA championships when she ran 10.75 and then went pro. Like, the eyes are going to be on her. But this was, hey, I'm not just going to be another sprinter. I'm not just going to be in the Diamond Leagues and in the mix to make the U.S. team. I still have that transcendent ability.
So she runs 10.77 if there was 2.0 wind, right? Basically, it's a 0.2 wind. Like, the 4.1 wind is basically 0.2 seconds advantage. So if she had 2.0 wind, though,
yeah, she would still be. That'd be really fast.
She would be running low 1070s.
Yeah.
When with a 2.0 wind. So it's not that if she had like perfect 1.9 wind or 2.0 wind, we could see a wind legal extremely fast time. Maybe even flirt in the 10.6.
And again, but that's why times are great and it's awesome to talk about it. But like, let's just look at competition, because she ran a race against a really good field, and then look at the margin of victory, because you're never going to get that ideal setup to be able to quantify to the exact 100th of a second where everybody's at.